Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is the Freedom System with Rick and Lee, and excited to have Lee back. Welcome, Lee.
Hey, Rick. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And
Good to be
today
back.
we have on Coach Steve Powers with Watson Powers. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
I had to greet you while you were drinking coffee because I used to be a waiter, so I've got that perfect sense of timing. Hey, Steve, for those who aren't familiar with you, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Let's see. I'm married for 38 years, got two wonderful kids. I've been doing real estate for 36, sold 4,000 houses. I've done 87,000 half-hour coaching calls. I'm a partner in Watson Powers Coaching, and we provide exemplary coaching for people that are high producers or those that have teams.
Thank you. That's a great elevator pitch. I know Lee's coached with you. I've coached with you. I think everybody should coach with you. And today we're just going to kind of give some free real estate coaching and dive in. We're going to plug you once in a while too, if that's okay with you.
Awesome. Whatever you want.
So Lee, I'll let you fire off with the first question. I've been asking questions all week.
Oh boy. You're putting me on the spot. Okay, well, actually, this actually reminds me of a conversation that I had with somebody who I've been helping out a little bit, and an agent down in Los Angeles who's just getting her feet wet. She actually just took her first for sale by owner listing, like in the last month or two, like brand new to the business. I think she's maybe done like maybe a few buyer deals, and that's really it. And she contacted me, and we were talking about. She's really obviously, trying to get listings, and she was focusing super hard on the number of contacts that she was making, which isn't wrong, necessarily, but I kind of like redirected her a little bit more towards our job every day, which is setting an appointment. And so, Steve, can you give any kind of insight on, I mean, I hope I'm kind of going in the right direction with that, but can you give any sort of backstory or insight why that might be the best approach?
If your family lived on an island and your job was to go get a fish, and you go fishing for 2 hours and you come home with no fish, is everybody still starving?
Yeah.
But you fished for 2 hours. See, if you go make 20 contacts and don't make an appointment, why did you quit? The 20 contacts is a nice goal. And in 2018, that would have worked. Listen carefully, guys. In 2018, 20 contacts a day, 5 days a week, you're going to get a listing a week. In 2022, it's 6-7 hours a day of prospecting until you find a listing appointment.
Yeah.
So the job is to make a minimum amount of contacts. That is a guarantee. That's a show up. That's perfect. But if you're not concentrating on setting appointments, then you're really not understanding your job. You don't go fishing to go fishing. You go fishing to catch a fish. So you come home to your family who's on this island. What are you doing back? Well, I fished for 2 hours, but we got no fish. Yeah, but I fished for 2 hours. I don't think you really understand the job of going fishing. See, so the job of every day is to set an appointment every day with a qualified buyer or qualified seller. And it's relatively simple math. If you set one appointment a day, how many is that a week?
5 appointments a week.
You'll go on 3. You'll take 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just go to work to make contacts, what'll happen is if your goal was 20, somewhere about 12 to 13, you'll look up the clock and you'll go, I bet I can finish these last 7 in the next 30 minutes. Good. 6 more to go, 5 more to go, 3 more to go, 2 more to go, 1. Whoo, I did it. You didn't quite understand your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and I see all these people. I mean, I interact and I correspond with all these people, some of which I have a lot of respect for. Like they're good people in the business, and they're out there saying, oh, I'm making 30, 40, 50 contacts a day. And then they're not necessarily taking listings. So I'm like, clearly there's some sort of disconnect there. I mean, they might, like I'm saying, they may make 250 contacts a week. They're on the phone all the time, but they're not necessarily setting appointments, and they're not taking listings.
Well, I think what you hit on that, Lee, and it's so important, is that they're so enamored in hitting their contacts when they should be enamored in making appointments.
Right.
That's the key for everyone listening here. It's important you make your contacts, but contacts are not guaranteed appointments. You can't go in trying to make your contacts and assume through abundance you'll be returned. You only are going to make appointments through a skill set.
Right.
And so you have to practice your closes like you never have before. In most markets, there's a lack of inventory. And so the agents like Lee or Rick who have the skill set, when they talk to someone who is a possible appointment and they stay on the phone and they close 5, 6, 7, 10 times, they're the ones who are going to pull out that appointment from that person that wants to sell. The person who's making contacts, they're waiting for the orgasmic yes. You know, we all get them periodically. You're a realtor? Oh my God, honey, it's a realtor. How did you know we were thinking about selling? You can fall into those, but not so much in this market.
Well, and contacts really are, and as I understand it, and from other people, contacts are way longer term. I mean, you may talk to somebody now, and yeah, they're looking at selling in a year or something like that. And so you're theoretically you're putting them in some sort of a, you know, but it's just a very slow, you know, it's just it's not right now business.
Well, and Steve, when it goes, Steve, I love your fishing analogy. Steve, I love your fishing analogy. And for people who are, you know, kind of trying to go by volume of contacts, when you get a higher skill set, you can have a better close ratio. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Is not the fact.
What? No?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So what's your question about the cold call? Because one of the things I teach is that you have to understand the math. How often does the average person move now?
I think it's every 7 years, right?
Hello?
I was going to say it's every 5 years.
Every 7 years.
7 years?
So every,
okay, yeah.
Well, let's say it's every 7. So every 7th person you're talking to will not be in that house next year.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. And then also, will you grant me the fact that the average person knows 90 days in advance they're going to move?
Yeah.
Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we know
Yeah,
the person
great.
knows 90 days in advance they're going to move, and there's 4 90-day periods in a year. So 4 times 7 is 28. So when you're prospecting, folks, remember that every 28th person you're talking to is going to sell their house in the next 90 days, and they know it. You have to be laser focused on getting that person to give you an appointment.
Yeah. Well, and one thing kind of along the same lines, Steve, that really like I mean, it was kind of a breakthrough for me, or just to understand this, but understanding the difference between somebody who's newer in the business and how many people they have to talk to set a qualified appointment versus someone who's been in the business like 4 years, and just the breakdown of how that ratio changes. I mean, it's pretty dramatic.
And that's what I was getting at earlier. Is the higher the skill set, the better the conversation with that 28th person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true. And also, as you're in real estate longer, you have past clients feeding you easier leads. You have people who know you. You know, business begets business. So the longer you're in business, the more credibility you have, the more confidence you have. But it doesn't matter if you've been in real estate for 10 days or for 10 years or 10 days. You are in real estate on February 11th, 2022. It doesn't matter what your experience are. You better learn to hunt today, because the market doesn't care about you.
Right, exactly. And that's probably like the biggest thing that I was trying to impart to this agent. And I think she understands it now, but like changing her mentality, because every day we wake up unemployed. You know, that's something that, and I think especially somebody who's newer in the business, that whole concept is like very abstract, but it's true.
So Steve, to keep the conversation flowing,
well, guys, there's really only 3.
Go ahead. There are only 3.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Apparently, we have a little bit of a sound delay, so we're having. That's a little bit hard to hear. So I apologize for that.
That's all right. We can get through it.
So
you're professionals.
You have a full coaching stable. You've sold thousands of homes. You've coached 87,000 half-hour sessions. We're in February 2022. What are you finding is working for people right now, practical, tactical, in low inventory markets? Everybody's going to come to us. What's the magic bullet? Where do you find the fish? Right? Where do you go fishing? Everybody always wants to know that. So if you were to pull up your crystal ball and look over your coaching portfolio, where are your clients having the most success right now?
Lee, I'm having trouble hearing you, Rick.
Lee, do you want to translate that?
Yeah. So if you can, he was just asking, in your coaching portfolio, like, given that it's a really low inventory market right now, what are people having success with the most as far as taking listings, like, given that it's February 2022 and we're dealing with this low inventory market? I think we've got sound issues. Oh, now he's gone.
Maybe that's why we were having sound issues.
Yeah.
So Lee, let's go up into your market. It's a low inventory market in Seattle.
Yeah.
What have you been having luck with?
So, I mean, it's kind of accelerating, but it's kind of like Steve was saying, it's like we thought that we were in low inventory 8 months ago, and now we're like, it's like a whole other level. I mean, it's just crazy how low inventory is in my market. And so it's just driving prices even higher. And it's kind of like you were saying, like I think a lot of people, especially people who are newer in the business, are kind of not clear on what it's going to take them to get a qualified appointment in this market right now. And just getting through that process of doing that. I mean, on a daily basis. I mean, that's kind of the awful truth, because it's like, it's not fun to say that. I wish I could give you some sort of magic bullet or potion that would change that. But the reality is that there are appointments out there to be had that are good quality listing appointments. But given the nature of the market right now, it's just going to take you a little bit longer to actually set one. And I think a lot of people just give up too easily. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
I'm reminded of a new TV show that's out, and there's a guy fishing in a polluted river. And someone asks him, well, why are you he said, are there any fish here? He's like, no, there are no fish here. He's like, why are you fishing? He says, well, what else am I supposed to do? He has no chance of success, right? He's just casting. But Steve's fishing comment made me laugh earlier, because it's absolutely true. If you're not coming back with fish, what is the point? Steve, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. The thing is to understand that the market is very fair. It rewards those who adapt.
Yeah.
And the market says you get up in the morning, you pee, you wash your hands, and from that minute forward, you go find an appointment. You don't do realtor stuff all day. You don't do admin. And folks, this is real important that we all get this. Do not confuse activity with achievement. All the things that you did 2 years ago, you got to take off your table. You don't have time for those things anymore. The 1 hour lunches with your realtor friends, the meeting with your broker for 2 hours every other day to just BS, the having 20-minute conversations in the hallway with somebody over coffee, those days are gone. Your job from the time you get up until you get it is to find an appointment. And so what does that mean? Well, let me tell you, my clients are having success with door knocking, going out and meeting people face to face. Because if you call a street of 20 houses, only 4 pick up. That leaves 16 people that aren't talking to anybody. Go meet the people. This is a business of meeting people. It's a face-to-face business. And so when you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there was expireds by owners. Those are gone. The easy business is gone. Our past clients have all refinanced at 2% for 10 years. They're not moving. We got to go meet new people we don't know all day long. No shortcuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really it. I mean, it's like, I think that a lot of people who are newer in the business, especially, you know, they don't understand how much that's going to take, and really that's your only goal. They get pulled into other things, or they have shiny object syndrome, or they get pulled into all kinds of different things, or admin or whatever. Like, I'm using it, like, I have a transaction coordinator, and I pay her $250 a file, and, you know, I'm not dealing with that type of stuff right now. I know that that my job every day is just to set one appointment, and that's really the guiding force around the rest of my world.
Hey, Lee, I just heard something yesterday from Tim and Julie.
Yep.
They were at a round table, sitting at a table with Glenn Sanford at a mastermind in Puerto Rico last week. And we're at EXP, we're introducing Revenue Share Plus. So it's going to be Revenue Share on mortgage, on title, on transaction coordinating. So on that 250, which is really low for a transaction coordinator, right? It's a really
crazy low for what they do. I have an EXP transaction coordinator now. She crushes it. It's amazing.
Half of that is going to be EXP revenue that goes back as rev share. So of the 250 you pay into the TC, EXP is going to give back half of that back to the agents.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's just one more revenue stream we just had out of the blue. I mean, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me that like they can even do that because it's like the value there is just immense. I mean, it's like I'm watching what this person's doing behind the scenes, and it's like, getting signatures from like all these signatures that I don't even really want to have these conversations with these people to get these signatures. Like I want to be going out and finding my appointment every day, or my 2 appointments, or whatever it is. So the value of that is immense. I mean, it's immense.
See, and Lee, you just hit something so important, is that you're trying to delegate everything so you could spend more time finding appointments. And yet 95% of all the agents out there are trying to find things to do all day to fill their day like they're a government employee. Yep, and then they leave at 5 minutes to 5. Yeah, I see it all the time. I worked in a company of 700 agents, and I had an office in the parking lot. And at 11:45, they would all go to lunch, and they'd come back at 1. And then at 4:30, they'd all start to leave, like we're a government job. See, what I like about what Lee just said was he had a transaction coordinator, which took care of those details so he could spend more time finding appointments. Folks listening to this is such an important point that we all get, that the roles of a real estate agent in the last 2 years have completely changed. And if you don't get this, you might as well get out of real estate. Your job is to find appointments, nothing else, because nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. All those things that you were taught in realtor school and at the realtor board of all the community service and all this stuff, none of that matters if you're broke. You've got to find appointments all day. And one of the things you have to avoid is getting a buyer appointment that can't buy. So don't work with buyers that in this market can't buy, even though they're qualified. If they're not able to write a contract that's going to get accepted, you're wasting your time. Go find a new one.
Well, and I think if you fall in love with the activity of just finding those appointments, I mean, if that's all you're really thinking about every day, your world is really, really simple. Like it's so simple. I mean, you're not having to think about other things. And I think so many people that I talk to in the business are, whether it's distractions in their office or it's distractions in their life or whatever it is, they're getting pulled into something else that is not appointment generating. And at the end of the day, like that's just going to kill you.
Right.
So Rick is having some trouble.
And it's not just going to kill you. You'll be out of business in 90 days.
Yeah. No, you will. I always joke with people that I talk to that I'm trying to help them in the business. And I'm like, I don't want you to make, like, I don't want to make you feel like if you don't set appointments that you're gonna starve and like die, but you are. So that's how it is. So Rick just asked us for a door knocking script, which I'm actually really excited, or a door knocking role play. Steve, can you help with this at all?
Do you want me to be the homeowner or the real estate person?
Be the real estate person.
Because I do a heck of a job door knocking. I'm 5'7". I show a little gray hair cleavage. I'm lovable. So
nice.
Okay. So ring the doorbell. I step back. Now here's the important part. Ring the doorbell, step back. And guys, let me give you a preempt on the door knocking. Assume that they have a Ring doorbell and they saw you from the street.
Wow.
You're on a job interview as soon as you can see their house. Don't think you can get away with fixing your hair or cleaning your ear out or something. The second you get near their house, they're watching you. Now, I wear the little Joe Biden blew mass, so everybody's happy. I ring the doorbell. Now, what I do is I pull out my Mont Blanc pen, which this is not, and I pull it out and I hit their doorbell with my pen to show I'm being viral sensitive. Then I step back 3 feet. Then they open the door. Then we start. So open your door, Lee.
Hey, can I help you?
Hi, my name is Steve Powers. I'm in real estate. We recently sold the Thompson's house around the corner for $100,000 over full price. We have lots of cash buyers that want to pay too much for houses like yours. So curious, what price cash would you need to consider selling your house the next 60 to 90 days?
Wow. It's funny. We actually looked at selling it 6 months ago, and we went. It wasn't quite where it didn't quite make sense for us at that point. But we've kind of been seeing what's going on in the market, and kind of been keeping an eye on it. It's kind of mind blowing what some of these homes are going for now. So, I think if we could get, if we could get 850, then I think we'd probably, think about doing something.
Well, of course. Do you mind if I come in?
Sure. Yeah. I've probably only got 10 minutes. I got to run to work.
That's fine.
You
That's
can
fine.
come in for a minute and just see the place if you want.
Now, guys, when I go door knocking, I'm dressed professionally. I'm ready to go. I have my listing agreement with me. I have paperwork. I'm ready to go. I'm that 17-year-old boy with a condom. I'm always ready. Okay. When I'm there, I'm ready to go. I walk in the house. The purpose of going in the house is to tell them how great their house is and to make an appointment. Not to say, now that I've seen it, let me go back and do a CMA. The purpose of ringing the doorbell is to, and guys, write these down. There's 4 reasons. Number 1, to find a now appointment. Remember, 1 of every 28 is selling right now. Number 2, to set a future appointment. Number 3, to get a referral of the neighbors. And number 4 is to maybe add them to my sphere. So let's go back to the opening volley. Can we, Lee?
Yeah.
3 years ago, we had a much more elongated opening. Hi, my name is, and I work with, and we've done this. And it's a slow process. Every homeowner in America is getting a call once a week, getting an email once a week, getting a text. They want to sell their house. They want to buy their house. Yes?
Yeah.
I've got to shorten my script because they're so used to Open Door and Next Door and Zillow hitting them. So I just say, we had the good fortune of selling, and I always use the seller's name, the Thompson's house, for this much over. We have cash buyers. What price cash would you need to consider selling your house in the next 60 to 90 days? I've got to hit them that strong in this market because they will not take you if you're weak. They know everybody wants to buy their house. They know everybody knows the house is going to sell. You have to hit them that hard.
Well, and Steve, along those lines, when I've been circle prospecting or for rent by owner, calling that lead type, I've used a similar line, and it's super. It's really effective because you're getting exactly to, you're getting right to, into the motivation. You're getting right into what they would really do. So you're sort of cutting.
That's the only reason you're there.
Yeah,
you're there to find an appointment.
Yeah.
And either they want to sell or they don't. And spending 30 minutes at the door with some retired guy who has no life, who Matlock comes on in 35 minutes, so let's chat, is not going to work in this market because I left my family to go find an appointment, not spend the day talking to people who don't want to move.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, why spend, 45 minutes on some nurture that is probably not going to sell for the next 2 years when you could door knock the next 5 homes and find a real bona fide appointment?
Well, you could say that 100 times and people still wouldn't listen because it's not comfortable hunting all day, because people got into real estate for all the other reasons. Oh, I get to have nice lunches. I'll play golf tournaments. I get to meet my friends. I have all the time off I want. Whew. Let me tell you, I'm 3 credits short of a law degree. I went into real estate because I thought I'd work less. However, real estate is the easiest way to make a lot of money. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah, there's really there's no shortcuts. And if you're like you're saying, if you can stay uncomfortable, then that's going to bode well. I mean, if you're keeping yourself in that uncomfortable position, whether it's door knocking or whatever you're doing, which people have trouble with that, but it's actually, I've gotten to the point now, like with prospecting, where like it's my happy place. It's where I feel more comfortable because I know that I know it's going to produce.
Steve,
And right now, real estate is so hot. Nobody's upset with the fact that you're talking about real estate.
Yeah, that is true too.
Go ahead, Rick.
So I was going to ask, when you're door knocking, everybody, it seems, knows 20 realtors, right? And so their fallback we're going to just do one objection role play because then we're going to be out of time. But the fallback position for the realtor is going to be like, well, they know 20 realtors, so why would they talk to me? So now you're at the door with Lee. Lee's met you. He's like, yeah, we were thinking about selling, but you know what? My best friend's a realtor. And so we'll just call him when we're ready.
Of course, you should probably call him another and interview me. Interview 2 or 3 realtors and make sure that the agent you choose, like myself, gives you the best plan possible, because not all sold signs are the same. My sold signs come with an extra $50,000.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
Steve, thank you
The
so
other
much.
objection I use.
Go ahead.
The other objection I use is, in a hospital, there's tons of doctors. Yes.
Yes.
And every nurse knows if their child needs an operation, there's always one doctor they would want the operation to be done by. Fair statement?
Yes.
I'm that doctor.
That's a fantastic analogy and a fantastic close.
Well, and that's like, I think about in my market now, I mean, especially if you're working expireds, I see it so often. I go into the MLS and I see something expire and I know immediately why it expired. And it's, even in this market, in this ultra low inventory market, we still have so many listings where, the seller missed out on a smooth deal, or they missed out on $50,000 or $100,000. I still see it all the time.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey,
Well, guys, thanks for letting me be here today.
What was that?
He said, thank you.
Thanks for letting me be here today.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry we had some audio issues. It would have made for a much more fun conversation. But Steve, if people want to reach out to you, it'd be the 87,000th coaching hour that they have with you. How can they reach Steve Powers at Watson Powers Coaching?
Go to watsonpowers.com or stevepowerscoaching@gmail.com.
Nice. Awesome.
I put a lot of notes in the comments. Hopefully they
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Steve. Hopefully they all populated to YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else you can find us. And if you want to get more coaching sessions like this, click on the subscribe button, the link button, go to thefreedomsystem.live if you're listening on a podcast, and thefreedomsystem.live will get you over to our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Steve, Lee. Great to have you back. And hopefully we'll have a smoother audio on Monday, but every Monday through Friday at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, we're here giving free coaching, folks. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
See you Monday.